the only two subjects that we'll be learning in this CCNA security. But unfortunately, it's not that in depth. They just give some introduction and then some very simple example. Yeah, we are not going to explore too much into authorization accounting. Actually, this is beyond the scope of CCNA security. Should be under CCNP security. Okay, this is the content, introduction, purpose of AAA, local AAA authentication, server-based Aaa Authentication, server authorization accounting, and then finally summary. Okay, you are supposed to do lab exercise. So later I will explain about lab exercise as well as we have packet tracer on this chapter. Yeah, so you're going to enhance your understanding on this AAA. I think most of us we are not familiar with this Aaa new model. Yeah. So purpose of AAA. Switch on my pen. Switch on my pen. Okay. So the first part, purpose of the AAA. What is a AAA? Why AAA is critical to network security, and also describe the AAA. So the overview, very simple. I think we have seen this before. Okay. People may try to access your what we call terminal, okay, by doing what we call brute force attack. So if we configure, for example, this simple configuration, you can see you can see this simple configuration here. Let me change my mouse. Okay. You can see simple you can see simple configuration like this. Line with TY04. Okay, what's the meaning of this line TY04? Maybe you can type. Yeah? And I ask you a question if you don't want to. Speak up, maybe you can type it. Okay, what's the purpose of this line with TY04? So at any one time, for 5% can access, not percent, 5%. Oh, okay, maybe short form for you, 5%. Okay, 5% can access. So percent 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this is the minimum configuration that you need to do. Yeah, you need to enable login. You need to enable password. By default, it is Telnet. Yeah, it's by default Telnet. So we need to enable, for example, later we will enable transport input, and then some option here. Yeah, SSH. We can say okay. If there is no SSH, we can also allow Telnet, and we can also allow some other options.
Sorry, Doctor, you are muted.
Oh, I've been muted for some time already. Okay. So, okay, this is the minimum configuration of our line. So 5% can access at any one time, yeah, 5%. So we have line with your 04, meaning 0 to 4, and then we need to enable login. And then if we enable login, we have to enable password on this side. Later you will see some other option. Besides login, we have login local, for example. And then when we enable Aaa new model, then this one become different things. Yeah, so the minimum will be this. Okay, let's say we configure this, and people can what they call, they try to have a brute force attack. They will try one by one. They try Cisco 1, Cisco 1, 2, and then they know you are the admin. They try your name, they try admin, and so on. Okay? This is how people will try to access into your router, and then once they manage to do it, basically once they have this prompt, the hash prompt, so meaning they have full access to it. Yeah. So this is what we don't want to have. Yeah. Okay. So this is the simplest method of remote access authentication to configure login password combination through the VTY line or UX line, or console line. So this minimum that we have done even in your CCNA. Okay. Okay. Besides Telnet, now we can configure what we call SSH. You learn this in your CCNA already, yeah. So the step that you need to enter is basically this very simple step. Enable domain name. You need to enter domain name. Why do we need to enter domain name? For example, maybe in our case with readable name. In our case, maybe SFSKTMUMEDUMY. So why do we need to enter this? Because later once we configure this crypto will be append to this, using this host name. So basically the first thing you need to configure is host name. You need to change the host name, rather than default Cisco, you need to give different name. For example, in our case, okay, let's say we give R1, host name R1, and then the second step is this, domain name, and then the third step will be crypto key generate. You need to give, I think, more than 700 plus key size if we use version 2, IP SSH version 2. Yeah? Version 2, we need to have some, if I'm not mistaken, the key should be higher than 700 bytes. Yeah? So in our case, okay, we have no problem to 048. Yeah? And then the fourth step, you need to give local database at least, minimum. Yeah, local database. Okay. I need to erase this. Okay, erase. Somehow I cannot erase. Strange. Okay. So anyway, the minimum is 700 plus. So in our case, okay, we put, let's say, 2048. Yeah, and then you need to give host name. Some of your, I received somebody ask question. Okay, you run GNS3, and then you already done halfway. I think, if I'm not mistaken, John, yeah, and then you cannot enter this. Okay, you just need to, you can just proceed with that. As I said earlier, last week, you need to, this one you need to use viral image. iOS version 15. If I'm not mistaken, 15.3 and above. 15.3 and above. So all the iOS given to that you can download it, basically less than 15.2, I think, maximum you can use with 700 router, 7,000 router, right? So you can just proceed as long as you know that actually there is an option in between that we can change the algorithm type rather than the default MD5. Yeah, when you use secret, mean MD5. MD5 can now be broken. People can use the brute force by using dictionary attack. Yeah, they try with dictionary attack, and then most likely they will manage to configure. So that's why it is always advisable for us to give different what they call a difficult password, so that difficult for people to put into dictionary, right? Just it will take longer than this. Yeah. So SSH is basically more secure. One more thing, as I mentioned, between Telnet and SSH, Telnet, if we capture the packet in here in between, yeah, you run, for example, Wireshark, we can capture the packet. For Telnet, we can read the password, login and password in clear text, right? Login and password in clear text. But for SSH, even though they can capture, they won't be able to read the username and password. They are all encrypted, and it's very hard for them to break. Okay, the components. Okay, next is the component of AAA. Component of AA. So we know A stand for authentication, and then authorization and accounting. Yeah. So authentication basically will say, okay, okay, imagine you have what they call this credit card. So authentication will identify you. Okay, who are you? Basically, you are the one who carry the card, and you are the one who knows the PIN. Yeah? So they assume that you are the one who authorized to. You can authenticate. Basically, you put the card into the machine, ATM machine, and then you know the PIN number. Then you can withdraw the money, or you can perform the transaction. So authentication will do exactly like that. So who are you? So yeah, and then the second will be authorization. How much can you spend? So for example, here they said, okay, credit limit is 1,500. This is what you are authorized to spend. And then once you spend, this is what you are accounted for. These are all the money that you have spent. So this is what they say accounting. What did you spend on? So we can apply the same concept of this AAA in our network. Right? Okay, the characteristic of AA local, we have local AAA authentication. The example that I emphasized just now, basically local authentication, or we can create what we call local database. Later, I will try to give some demonstration. Yeah, I hope my network will work and will run, because in GNS3 sometimes unpredictable behavior. Right? Okay, we are going to look into what they call, okay, local AA authentication, where you define username, admin, and then algorithm type, yeah? And then you can type secret, yeah, secret XXX. So this is local database. This is what they call local AA authentication, right? And then server-based authentication basically will involve server. Yeah? So the router will first consult the server. So in this example, okay, you are trying to SSH, for example, to this router, and then this router will ask you, okay, give me your username and password. And then the next step will be, okay, this is the username and password, sent to this local server, and then the local server will authenticate whether you are authorized to do it or not. Okay, I will, hopefully I have time to demonstrate to you what they call, we are going to use WinRadius server. This is part of your lab week 3. Yeah? Lab 3, we will do this exercise as well. So I'm going to demonstrate how we can implement this using our what I call GNS3. Okay, so I will run Win server, and I will also run the available server given in GNS3. Okay, there are also simple server that we can use to run Radius and Takat server in GNS3. So it's quite useful. That's why I really encourage all of you to explore to use GNS3. Okay, can you differentiate between these two? Yeah, the server base basically will involve server. Local mean the database is inside the username and password, everything inside this router, right? Okay, if you can think of, okay, what are the advantages of having this, yeah, and this, yeah? Okay, I'll start with this first. What are the advantages of this? Yeah? With local database, okay, I'll go back to local database. Basically, if you need to configure everything, username and password on all the router. Okay? If you have one router, okay, I think it's fine. But let's say you have 10 router, so basically you have to go to each of the router, and then you will have to configure username and password. Right? If the same username, meaning you will configure all the router with the same username and password. But if you want to allocate a different router to different user, then basically you have to give different username and different password to different users. Yeah. So if you have 10 users, just imagine you have to go to each individual router, and then you have to do exactly the same thing. Yeah. then as you know, we are human, we may prone to make errors. Okay, if we have hundreds, in our case, for example, University Malaya, we have hundreds of routers. So basically, you have to go to each individual router, and then you have to do exactly the same thing. So that is basically the disadvantage of having what they call local database. But with this, basically what you need to do is basically, okay, all the admin, all the username, and the password, okay, we update inside here. Okay, so one may be admin, password, whatever, and then second user, junior admin, and then whatever password, and then third user, fourth user, and so on. So later when you have another router, what we can do is basically we just need to point to this authentication server, right? And then you have another router, just point to this authentication server. So anyone who needs to access to this router, they can use exactly the same username and password. For example, you are the admin, you will have this. You have to just remember one username admin, and then your password, for example, and then you can access all the router inside, inside this, within your administrative domain, right? For example, in so if I were the administrator, then I will have access to all the router. So I don't have now to go to every single router to enter the username and password. Okay, that is basically the advantage of having what they call central database, central database. Okay. So Aaa authorization, yes, the step I already mentioned just now. So then you need to get the authorization from the server. Yeah. So there are many options of server here. Yeah. For Cisco, we have Cisco ACS authentication, whatever, I can't remember now. But this is now depreciated. Replaced with ICE. Yeah. You can read about this. Yeah. No longer we don't have this anymore. I think since 2017 they already discontinued. This is discontinued, and then Cisco start with ICE, integrated service engine, they call it. Yeah. Okay. So this is basically the step needed between whatever control router and then our server. Right? So the step, when the user has verified a session established, and then the router require authorization for the requested service. Okay, this is authorization. Second step. The previous one is basically I have problem. I use this. I have problem with my okay, this one, the first step basically to authenticate you. Once you are authenticated, then you are only authorized to perform action. Certain action. We can configure that. As I said earlier, this is beyond our scope. They just show you some simple step for you to do configuration, but we are not doing it in the actual lab, right? And then the third is basically the accounting. So these are some of the accounting information that you can configure: network, connection, execute, exec, system, command, and resource. So I put these are all the information from your curriculum. For example, network. So network accounting will capture information for all point to point. This is mainly all the communication are point to point. Protocol, including packet and byte count. So connection will capture information about all outbound connection from the client such as Telnet and Ssh. So basically network will capture almost everything, packet and bytes. But connection, if you make the connection using Telnet or Ssh, and then we can configure to capture the connection. And then we can also configure what they call execute accounting. We'll capture information about execute terminal session, the shell session, including username, date, start, stop, when you start, who is accessing, what time you start, what time you stop, and then what IP address you are accessing. So the most information capture is basically this one. Okay, this is more dedicated. Basically, okay, you want to capture only when user have the access, right? Okay, we have also system accounting, capture the system level event. For example, system reboot, or when accounting is turned on and off. And then we have command accounting, you capture the privilege label that be excluded, executed on the Rsa server. Each command accounting record include a list of the commands executed for that privilege label. So this is when we configure privilege label, then they will capture, okay, what command, okay, for example, I'm the junior admin, so they will capture all the command that I've entered, right? So you can read all this information from the from our. Okay, then we have what we call local Aaa authentication. Local Aaa authentication with command line. So authenticating administrative access. So add username and password to the local router database for user that need administrative access to router. So this is what we call local database. Local database, right? Local database. Just now, remember we have two options. One is local and the other one server based. So this is when we configure our username and password in local. And then somebody asks, okay, I don't have this option. I explain again. You don't have this option if we run the iOS version less than, if I'm not mistaken, less than 15.3. If you have iOS version less than 15.3, then we don't have this option. Last time I demonstrated when we use viral image. Viral image. So you can search how you can enable viral image, download viral image, and then we can experiment with viral image. That one is I think version 15.56 we can find. Okay, then there is an option for this algorithm type. So in your case, I allow you to use this what I call any router version. So you don't have to worry about this. As long as you know that, okay, this is available, when they are available, then you know how to configure them. That's good enough, right? So you just need to configure username and then the secret. Okay, right? So if you can proceed with your lab exercise using GNS3, then you don't worry about this option, algorithm type. Yeah, if you want, also you can. Okay. Oh, script can, but SHA can, Okay. All right. What version are you using? Sendform? What version are you using?
Hold on, I check, yeah.
Okay. Let me check. Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. Good. I thought only there's not so basically you have algorithm type. You can type it. Yeah. From my understanding, only this one. Yeah. I don't know. Please check the version, and also what router that you use. Maybe you can share, and then maybe your friend can experiment with that as well. C7 event. Okay. Version. Software version. Oh, okay. 15.3. Okay. That's why I assume 15.3. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, 15 and above, you can. Yeah. That's why I think you can. But script cannot. Script cannot.
Yeah, script cannot. After we put the router, the configuration there, the script will be wiped.
Okay. Right. So no option for script. Yeah. But you can.
Got options for script, but cannot use.
Oh, okay. Good. See, okay, that one you can download from the internet. This version, or you get somewhere.
For other lecture.
Oh, right. Okay. I don't think you can. I think if you search in the internet, you can get it. Probably.
Okay.
If nobody share, then you can. Okay. Anyway, if you can, then good. Yeah. You can. Okay. So this is how we configure what we call local database. What do you mean local database? So that database is actually inside our router. So if you have 10 router, So basically you will have 10 database, right? Inside here, 3, 4, and all this you need to configure inside all this router. Okay, in order for us to run a AAA, okay, this is a must. This is a must. You need to configure this. Just do some experiment without configuring this, and then after configuring this, you will notice, as I say just now, line VTY04, and then you type login, and then you can enter password, password XXX. So inside this login, without configuring this, okay, there are limited option, but with configuring this, then you have some other option. Now you can log in authentication as well, right? So once we enable this, so they expect that, okay, we have different ways of configuration, authentication, especially authenticating of our devices, right? Okay, there are several methods of authentication. You can see this is the syntax. You will notice you need to configure this Aaa Authentication login, and then you will notice, okay, in the letter we'll see example. Okay, they say default, and then either default or you give name. This is one option. So basically you will type Aaa Authentication login, and then default, or we can define name. So default, let's say we say default, so you type Aaa Authentication login default, and then method. So method, we can have many methods, up to 4 methods, maximum 4 methods. So you can choose. Normally, okay, later we'll see our example. We are going to use radius, we are going to use takat, and then we are going to use maybe enable, and then we are going to use local case, for example, local database, right? So 4 option, done, finish. But that is maximum. You can just enter, okay, I want to use takat and I want to use radius. That's it. Or I want to use takat, I want to use local case. 2. That's it. Or I want to use takat and I want to use the enable password. Okay, why do they give this option? There are probably situation when your server, Aaa server, either radius or takat server, connected to the internet, and then this is your admin PC. So you try to access, and then the connection down. So you want to give other option. Okay, if this is down, you want to still enable to use other option. So for you to go inside your router. If we only enable, okay, one method, basically, if this is down, there is no way for you to go inside your router or your switch. So you have to go to the physically, you have to go to the router itself and then perform password recovery. Okay, that is the only way. If not, okay, you want to remote login, okay, we want to give several ways for you to go inside your router. First method, second method, third method, fourth method. So if this is down, okay, this is another option. If this is down, and then we have another option. Okay, if this is down, so I really emphasize if this one method is down. For example, you will configure Aaa Authentication login. So meaning for all login, you will use, we want to use this default, and then you say group takat, first method, group radius, and then maybe enable, and then maybe local. So 4 method maximum. We can go beyond this. Okay, let's say we run this. This is takat server, and then we have another one, radius server, right? Okay, if this is down, automatically your router will try to find, okay, the next one, radius. If this is also down, then your router see, okay, the user can still log in, but using enable. Yeah, if they are most likely this is not down. Yeah, okay, there's no way. If not, this is not configured, then only they can use local. Okay, I really emphasize. Okay, when this is down, if this is not down, you enter a wrong password, you enter a wrong username, you enter a wrong password, then you won't be able to access, right? So this is the case when this is down or cannot be accessed. Maybe this is shut down, the server is not running. When the server is not running, then only they give you another option. Yeah, even though you configure all of these four, but if this is up but you enter a wrong username and password, you still won't be able to get inside your router. Only the case when the router is down, the server is down, then only they will look into different option. Okay, so you may ask, okay, what is the purpose of this? This is really strange, you know. Yeah, you have the option, yeah, to, okay, if there is no takat, there's no radius, then you can say, okay, I want to say none, meaning the user just can't get inside. Yeah? So this is actually very strange option, but they are available. Yeah? So meaning the you can configure, okay, I want to configure if the takat is down, the radius is down, only you want to use none. So meaning you want to allow people to get inside, admin, especially admin, to get inside if the route, the takat server down and the radius server is down. Okay. The only two have different server, radius and takats. The rest are basically local. Enable, all you configure inside your router. Enable and local. Local case meaning important. The case very important. Admin is not equal to admin. Yeah, this one is not equal. Okay, right. So maybe we look, okay, example. This is local authentication. Yeah, why we say local Aaa authentication? Because we enable Aaa new model. Once we say Aaa new model, okay, now we have option either to use local authentication or remote access authentication, right? So we can configure a new model. Then basically you definitely you need to configure username, because a new model will use local database minimum, right? So you need to configure this. And if we can configure, for example, just now say I already emphasize Aaa authentication login default, right? Default. So, and then, okay, what are the options? Method 1, method 2. Now you say, I want to use local case, I want to use enable. Both are basically local database, yeah? All inside your router. Okay, another option, we use list name, SSH login. And then you say, okay, if for SSH login, yeah? So in this case, okay, you have the intention to put them for SSH authentication inside this line BTY. Yeah? So we can give name. So I go back to this one. See, we have option. Either we want to use default or we want to use name. Yeah, just now we use default and then we say local case enable. And then the other one, login SSH. Yeah, we use the second option, and then we are using local case. Right? Okay, this is both example we have here. Right? So we define this basically when we define. Oof, somehow I cannot erase. I run Epic Pen. I cannot erase. I think something wrong with this pen. Yeah, okay. Maybe I will shut down and run again. Yeah, let me shut my Epic Pen. I think something wrong with my Epic. Exit. Okay. Oh, I think maybe. All right. I think it's not Epic Pen. It's actually. Right. Okay. Okay. No wonder. Actually, I'm using. I thought I was writing using Epic Pen. Actually, this PowerPoint presentation. Oh, they have the same key. I didn't realize that. Okay. Anyway, doesn't matter. So how should I erase? Okay, erase. Okay, I can erase this. Okay, I already configure in my pen. Okay, this is the local database. Yeah. And then we have option just now. You remember default login, default local case enable. If we don't configure this, let's say we don't configure this, yeah. Okay, you don't configure this. You only configure this. So what are we saying here? We are saying that all login will use this. All login will use this. So meaning you have line console 0. We have line VTY004, for example. Then we have line AUX. All this will need login. Yeah, you remember we have login option here. Login, all have login. So what we are saying here, when you enable this, automatically all these will use whatever you configure here. Local case enable. Yeah, can you understand? Is it okay? No response? Okay, yeah? Okay, right. So I hope you know again. When you configure this, yeah, Aaa Authentication login default, this is the syntax. Yeah, remember syntax that either we use default or list name. We have two options here. Either we use default or we can configure whatever we want to give name here. Right? Either we have default or we can give name. And then after this, okay, there are methods. Yeah, remember we have group takat, group radius. Later we look into that because now we are under local Aaa Authentication. We are not using server. Yeah. So once we do this and then line VTY04, if you don't enter this, by default it will look into this first method, local case, and then the second one will be enabled. Okay, so this is what it means here, local the default keyword. Yeah, if you want to, okay, you want to say SSH login, maybe console login, and then maybe VTY AUX login, then we can do something like this. And then inside here, login, Aaa Authentication, then you use specific name. Yeah, if we use this, basically you don't have to even configure this, because by default it will use this as the authentication, right? Okay, that's what I was trying to explain. Yeah. Okay, this is the another fine tuning of the authentication configuration. We can have maximum attempt. Yeah? Later maybe you can try this. Yeah? So number of successful meaning unsuccessful attempt, and then display who are locked. Okay? Show a local user log out. Okay, you can type this and then just show. These are all just show. Yeah, and then you can check. Okay, end session. Any session, right? So show a session, show local user logout, Aaa local if you want to configure number of unsuccessful attempt. Then you can do this as well. Okay, and then we can troubleshoot local authentication. Okay, we can type debug Aaa and then authentication, and then we can debug Aaa. Okay, this is example output. You want to see, okay, continue. Okay, you want to see at the end status is passed. Yeah, these are steps. Okay, you don't have to memorize all this. It's not going to come up in your exam question. So basically, you can see what is the response of your router where we type debug. Yeah, debug, and then in our case, okay, you want to debug Aaa, so you have to type debug Aaa authentication. You can see all these messages. If we don't type this, you won't see what happened behind the scene. If you want to see what is happening, maybe you want to debug, okay, why am I failed to get inside my router, for example. Yeah. So then you can go to the router, and then at the same time you try to log in using your laptop, and then we see the message here. So why is it pass? Why is it fail? Okay, and then if this is pass, mean good. Yeah, yes, we want to see this pass, right? The status get user, the method is local. This kind of thing that you already using. They are using default list. Yeah? All that you have configured just now. Yeah? And then server-based authentication. Okay, before we have local authentication. So everything, username, password, everything inside here. But now we can also have another option when we can configure our group server. Yeah? So in the example, we can have more than one server. Yeah? It's not not necessary one, two. You can have theoretically many servers. Yeah? I don't know up to how many, but I don't see the need to have so many, isn't it? Yeah? But we can have many, more than one server. Just now, one server may run radius, one server may run takkats, another server may run another radius, and so on. There are only two options, either radius or takkat server. There's no other option. Yeah. Okay, we can have Microsoft Active Directory as well. You can use that as well later. Later we'll look into it. Yeah. Okay, server-based authentication, user. Okay, for local authentication, user establish a connection with the router. Yeah? And then the router will prompt the user with username and password, and authenticating the user using the local database. Okay, and then server-based authentication, user establish a connection with the router. Yeah, similar, same thing, but the router will prompt the user for username and password. Same thing here. Yeah, similar thing. The router pass the username and password to Cisco ASA. Yeah, Cisco Secure Accounting Academy, ACS Accounting. Can someone quickly search the name? If I'm not mistaken, access control server. If I'm not mistaken, can someone quickly search? Yeah, Cisco Secure ACS, and then the pass. Yeah, this one the pass to the Cisco ACS, and then the Cisco Secure AS, Cisco Secure Access Control Server. Okay, access control. Thank you. Right? Okay, access control server. Thank you, Zulhadi Adam. Okay, thank you. Ciao. Okay, the Cisco ACS server will authenticate the user. Okay, I will try to demonstrate this. Later, I will try to demonstrate it. We try to finish before we go into the accounting. Then I will stop and then I will demonstrate. Okay, we have what they call Cisco ACS. Okay, this is the one, access control, right? Okay, right? ACS, access control system. Oh, system or server? Right? System or server? ACS. Can someone confirm again? But here with the what they call given to me, this one is system. Yeah, ACS. Okay, we can use what they call Cisco ACS. As I said earlier, this is now replaced by ISE, Integrated Service Engine, if I'm mistaken. Yeah? Please also check this name, Cisco ISE. What is the full name? Normally I just mentioned ISE. Now I cannot remember the full name. Okay, we can have this Cisco ACS, or now we call it ISE, Cisco Identity Service Engine. Okay, thank you. Identity Service Engine. What is that, Desmond? Cannot read. Too small. Cisco Secure. Oh, system. They call system. Right? Not server. Right? So not server, system. Thank you. Okay. Okay, we can have many servers, as I said. Okay, we can run ISE, right? Which is okay. We can run. Okay, we can run ACS, or nowadays we have run ISE in all of this, right? Then we can run either takkat or radius. So takkat or radius protocol used to communicate between the client and the AA security server. So basically, this client will need to understand takkats and radius protocol, as well as the server that we are going to implement. Yeah. For Cisco, they have Cisco ACS or they have what they call ICE. Right? So both must be able to understand TACACH or Redis. Right? Okay, server-based communication protocol. Okay, the difference between TACACH and Redis. So basically, TACACH is Cisco proprietary. Cisco, mostly Cisco supported. Yeah? This is open source. Redis is open source. This is dedicated to Cisco, developed by Cisco. I believe when they mention this, meaning they allow other vendor to implement TACACH as well. Similar like EIGRP. Yeah? EIGRP. This is used to be Cisco proprietary. Nowadays, Cisco open this for any vendor to implement inside their router or layer 3 switches. So everybody can now implement this. Yeah, you can read them in Cisco website, or maybe easily you can read them in what I call Wikipedia. Read about this one. Okay, so now it's open, so everybody to implement. So I think similar to this one. So allow, this is only mostly supported by Cisco, but this is open. Yeah. Okay, for the TACACH, the three function, authentication, authorization, and also accounting, they are separated. So meaning you can have one server for account authorization, different server for accounting for authorization, another server for accounting. Okay, this is, you can implement this modular. They call it modular implementation. Yeah, this is the idea behind AAA actually. You can have different server that handle different things. Yeah, but for Radius, these two are combined. Yeah, you cannot have option to separate accounting and authorization. Sorry, authentication and authorization. You can separate the accounting. So meaning for Radius, you can have one server for this, the first 2A, authorization and authorization and authorization and authorization, accounting, authentication. Sorry, guys. Authentication and authorization. Right? The first two, but accounting can be separated. Right? So most example, most lab, they will just combine the three, all these three inside one server. Right? The three, all these three. Even though we know that if we implement TACACH, mean we have the option to separate them. So based on TCP, based on UDP, right? TCP based UDP, and then this one bidirectional challenge and response. Okay, if you read about CHP, this is also part of PPP protocol in CCNA. If you study CCNA, you under PPP protocol, point-to-point protocol. Okay, one option is CHAP. Yeah, CHAP basically, okay, both end will authenticate each other. I send you challenge. Okay, you have to come up with the answer. Same thing, you will send me challenge, I will come up with the same answer, right? So we get the same answer because we have the same key, right? Since both have the same key, so whatever challenge I send, you calculate and then you send back. Okay, I can recalculate and then using the same key, I will get the same result. Yeah. For CHAP, both end. For Radius, only the server will send challenge, and then the user will reply. Right? Okay, simpler implementation in Radius, yeah, but not TACACH. Yeah? And then multi protocol support. This one does not support this. Yeah, I think this is not very important nowadays, isn't it? We all normally use TCP/IP. Nowadays, these are not that popular. You can read this. Apple-based, and then NetBU for Microsoft-based Windows, for Microsoft Windows networking. Yeah, but this is for local, implementation, right? Using all Microsoft-based device network. Okay, this one. So, but this one doesn't support this one. This one support multiple. We can support this one. They can also support this. Okay, entire packet encrypted. This one only the password encrypted. provide authorization of router command on per user and per group basis. Yeah, this one does not. Yeah? You cannot have per user or per group basis. Let's say, yeah. Okay, and then limited, and then this is extensive. Okay, you can find maybe more detail. Okay, what does this? You know, example, how to configure. But these are all beyond our CCNA security. To be honest, I never configure this as well myself. Right? But we know this option are here, and then we can use them in future. Maybe in your workplace you need to configure this. You know that okay, you can do it. Yeah. Okay, the TACA is more complicated as compared to Radius. Yeah. First, okay, the client will need to connect. Okay, the user say, okay, what is your username? And then okay, I'm junior admin. So the router will send to the ACS server, in this case, or ISE, I said I server or ACS server. And then, okay, the user, okay, sorry, connect. Sorry, yeah. Okay, first connect. Okay, just look at the number. The one I mentioned just now is for Radius. Okay, the connect. And then, okay, should I use username? Yes, username. And then, okay, what is your username? Okay, this is my username. Okay, the username is junior admin. Okay, should I use password prem? Yes, use password. Okay, what is your password? Okay, I'll send my password, and then the password relay to the server, and then either accepted or rejected. Okay, depend on the username and password. Yeah. Later I will demonstrate to you what JNS can do. I think really if you can really explore, I think really fun. If you can explore what JNS can do. Yeah. Okay, and then Radius, if you look here, simpler as compared to, much simpler as compared to this one. This one up to 12, I think. Okay, then this one 6 step. So meaning half of the step only, right? So username. Okay, this is my username. What is your password? This is the password. Okay, I'll send username and password, and then either accepted or rejected. Right? Accepted or rejected. Right? So simpler implementation as compared to Takat. Okay. Bear in mind, Takat and Redis, they are protocol, protocol they implement. So meaning the server has to understand the protocol, then only they can communicate. Yeah? If not, then they cannot understand, there is no point, right? So Cisco Secure ACS, Cisco ACS, you can run either this one for communication between the router and the server. As I said, okay, if you have hundreds of router, so we can easily configure this, or refer to one of the server or maybe multiple server we have, right? And then once we do that, we already configure username, and we have password, username, user number 1, user number 2, password, user number 3, password. So all these user, we can allow them to configure all the router. Okay, you normally, okay, obviously we don't want any normal people to have username, password, isn't it? So only maybe admin, junior admin, support, and something like that. Okay, that have the username and password inside this one, and then they can have access to all the routers. Right? Okay, reduce integration of A with Active Directory. Okay, we know this Active Directory. If you are familiar with Active Directory, this is under Windows-based operating system, the Windows domain. The Microsoft Active Directory is a directory service for Windows domain network. I'm not sure whether you realize or not, you can log in into the lab in our faculty. You can go to any lab, and then you enter your username and password, and then you can access your data inside the server. That is actually, we implement what we call Active Directory. Your username and password are already configured inside the database, and then we access the database, in this case Windows Server server. They access your username and password, then you are allowed access to your computer. So we can, using this, we extend the Active Directory now to implement what we call AAA. Yeah. So rather than using takkats and what we call radius, rather than using dedicated ACS or ICE or any takkats or any radius server, then we can also use IAS, and then the IAS will communicate with AD directory. Okay? So basically the things that we need to get from here is a username and password. That's all. Yeah, they want to have the authenticate we want to be authenticated. So where do we get that authentication? From database. So that's the database they can use. We can use what they call Active Directory as the database. So the idea behind this is actually simple. To get the where do you put your database? Okay, server-based Aaa Authentication. Configure this. How do you configure this? First step, enable Aaa. So how do you enable Aaa? Aaa new model. This one command. Basically, you are going to enable Aaa. How do you want to remove a new model? You have to type no in front, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. This is no. That's right. Okay. Specify the IP address of the DSA server, and then we need to configure the key, and then we configure to use this one server or this one server. We are saying we are now configuring server-based Aaa. Yeah. I think just now somebody asked, okay, it should be in local only. No, you can configure server-based as well. So now we are going to look into this server-based, how we can configure the server-based authentication. Okay. Okay. This is the first step. We enable the Aaa model. Yeah. So the first step, enable Aaa. The first step. This is the first step, and then you specify the IP address of the ACS server. Okay. Okay. This is one way how we can define what server that we want to use. So you are saying, okay, I want to define my takkat server. Yeah. You call this. You just give this name. Okay. This is the address of the takkat server, which is this one. Yeah. This server. The address, you already give the address here, 101, right? And then you are saying, okay, the key is this. The key is this. Okay, the key is very important. You configure here, you need to configure the same key inside here. Okay. Later we will demonstrate this using WinRadius. It is actually your lab exercise for chapter 3. Yeah? Chapter 3, you need to implement to use WinRadius. Okay, you can configure for takkat using what they call single connection. You know takkat uses TCP. Okay? So what is the purpose of this? Okay, you have your inside your curriculum also, you can access this. Use single connection command to enhance TCP performance. Yeah, to enhance. Basically, okay, we need to enhance TCP performance by maintaining a single TCP connection for the life of the session. Otherwise, every time TCP connection is open and closed for each session. Yeah? So basically, as long as you are alive, then they will allow only one session, rather than every time one single command send one session, and then reopen again in another session, reopen again in another session, close, reopen again. Yeah. So this is just simply to save the to enhance the TCP performance. Right? If not, then you have open close, open close, open close. Right? Okay. So since Aaa takkat use TCP, so we have this option. But for radius, there's no option. There's only two, one and then key. Right? For this, okay, you can change the authentication port depend on the port of the server. Let's say this is your radius server. The radius will listen to two different ports. One is authentication port, one is accounting port, right? Okay. If this is what is configured by default, this is one. This is by what is given by Internet Authority. Yeah. See again, I forgot the name. You can search quickly. Yeah, this one. Okay. By default, Cisco router will use this by default. For the Cisco router, they use this, but all the Redis implementation, they will use this 2 port number. So that's why we have to change this. If you don't configure this, basically you are saying that, okay, I want to authenticate using this port number. I want to authenticate to have the authentication accounting port with this number. Yeah? But your Radius server are listening to 1812 and also 1813, right? So that's why we have to change this from the default. The default are these two, yeah? Default are these two, but now we want to change to this default given by IANA. This is default by Cisco router. This is default by IANA, implemented inside all the Radius server. You will see later. Okay, internet assign number. Okay, thank you, Nurul Aiman. Yeah. I'm getting older now. You know, all the time I always forgot the short name. I always mention INA, ISE, then I forgot the full name. Okay. Also for this implementation Radius, they will be this. So later we'll see inside our Radius server. Yeah, when we implement this. Configure authentication to use the Aaa server. Okay, same thing. Aaa authentication login default. Yeah, remember login default. Okay, what are the options? Okay, these are the options. Yeah. If you run packet tracer, you won't see this many, because packet tracer will only simulate commands that are good enough for CCNA security. They are not real router, so you won't see many of these. Yeah, maybe you see this, you see this, maybe you see enable, you see group, but most of these you won't see. Yeah? Okay, maybe you won't see all this. And for us, we can see all this, but we never configure all this. Yeah? So same thing as at the end, same thing. Yeah? But just to show that, okay, they are actually command. The real command, they are a lot more than what is given inside your packet tracer. That's why for us, I really encourage you, for your lab exercise, you are going to use, we are going to implement using GNS3, because we don't have access to the lab. Previous student, previous session, I think previous one also, the last 2 years ago, basically all the students, they are using the real lab, so they have access to all this command. Yeah. Okay, and then okay, what do you need to configure? Login default. Remember when I say default, mean we are saying that all login now will use whatever you want to configure here, right? So in our case, okay, login default group, and then we have the option Radius or Takat. So now you can enter Aaa login default group Takat group Radius, and then local case. How many methods now we use? 1, 2, 3. 3 methods that we use. Yeah. So meaning for all login now will use this default group Takat group Radius local case. Yeah. So you, even though you don't configure your line console 0, yeah, but now it has logged in. Actually, it has logged in here. Yeah. By default, it will use this one. Now you start to see that you won't be able to enter your even your console line if you don't give the whatever you configure inside Takat group inside the Radius, the username inside the Takat server or the Radius server. Okay, so this is the okay. Now, okay, we configure this. The first thing we need to configure to enable Aaa, and then you define, okay, this is my Takat server, this is my Radius server. Yeah, and then you want to use both of them, group Takat and group Radius. Yeah, so this name, actually I'm not sure what is the purpose of this. Yeah, maybe we should see maybe some other advanced command configuration, but we never use this. Yeah, we never use these two names. It's basically just the name given here, Takat server, Radius server. Okay, so I believe, yeah, maybe you can try. If you have more, then we can have more address for Takat server, more address for Radius server, probably. Yeah. Okay, maybe try. Never try this. Okay. Normally we have one Takat server, one Radius server. That's good enough. Right? Okay, maybe if you either you can add address here, or you have to define another takat server T2. Okay, maybe later you try this, yeah, which option. By theory, we know that we can have more than one takat server, we can have more than one ready server in theory, yeah. And then finally troubleshooting, same thing, Aaa Authentication, and then you want to see, for example, okay, you want to see, okay, this is the yeah, so you want to see this status pass, which is good, right? Debug Aaa Authentication. And then debugging takat, okay, especially for ready server, we can debug using this command, debug takat authentication. Or if you configure accounting, or if you configure authorization, you want to debug them, okay, you can type this, right? And then you can see the output, yeah, debug takat, for example, and then you want to see, okay, these are takats. Yeah? Okay, maybe if I remember, then we try to run and see what happened, yeah, in our, okay, then start. And then debug takat. Yeah, this one debug takat this one. Fail. Okay, pass, fail. Just want to show you, okay, what is the highlight to you. One is pass, one is fail. Okay, get user. The step is similar. First get user, get the password, and then receive authentication response status fail. Receive authentication response password fail. Server base, Aaa Authorization and Accounting. Okay, maybe before we go deep, it's not deep, we go into this, I will try to demonstrate, okay, what I have here, the GNS3. I already run few things here to make my life easier, just to demonstrate. Maybe you can replicate this later in your, you can see my GNS3, right? You can see my GNS3 screen.
Yes, doctor.
Okay, so I think sometimes it's a pain to have this VM running. You need this, you need, if you want to run some more advanced thing, you need to have VM running. You need to install VM. Unless you are running in Linux environment, you don't need VM. But I believe most of us, we use either Mac or we use Windows based. So you need VM, for Mac, or in my case, I need VM for Windows. And sometimes when you start, always you see this is not running. I found out there's one thing that maybe you need to do, that you can do. This is also based on my whatever I find in the, I search. I have problem, and then I search the answer. Okay, so you have this VM. I'm running VMware. You need to disable and enable. Disable and enable again. Disable, enable, and then after that you can see that now this is start working. Most of the time, okay, you first install, okay, it's working. But tomorrow you open it back, you can see that, okay, this local server is running. This is the local server. Okay, now I think I need Epic Pen. Just now I run my PowerPoint. They already have the built-in what I call pen, isn't it? Okay, I run this. Now I can show you using this one. Okay, this is the what I call my local server. Yeah, if you don't run VM, you won't see the second one. This is the VM. If you run VM, you will see this. Okay, some of the devices, you really need to have this, yeah, in order for you to run. Okay, you can run this without VM. You can run this without VM. But you need this, for example, this is what they call networkers tool. Networkers, I think networkers tool. Yeah, you can install this, yeah, appliance, and then I have this. This what I call server. Later I will show, okay, the configuration. Yeah, and then this is my machine. This is actually this one. Sorry, this is cloud. Yeah, so I pull here, and then I change the icon. Okay, this is my laptop, exactly my laptop, Pavilion. So I find the Pavilion. You need to have PNG file, PNG file. Then I change my icon symbol here. Okay, this one I use open switch. open vSwitch, virtual switch. Rather than using the built-in, now you can have what they call open switch. You can install it, but you need this. You need VM. This one, okay, this one option. You can either local or VM, but this one you need VM. IOSV, viral image. I mentioned many times already. Viral image. You need VM. This one you need VM. This one layer 2. You need. This is also viral. This is actually layer 3 switch. Layer 3 switch. Layer 2, okay, you can, yeah, hope you can differentiate between these two. Layer 3 switch, layer 2 switch. You learn this in your CCNA. Yeah, I just mentioned this. Look at the tutorial. Yeah? If you have used problem, then you can look at the tutorial that the link that I given last week. Very good tutorial. That one I really follow that guy when I start learning what they call CCNA. Yeah. So really advise students to follow that. If you have problem, CCNA. There are also tutorial for CCNA security. Or maybe if you have some money, you can Udemy. I believe most of you know about this one. This is where people learn. Udemy. Yeah. Yeah, I think most of us, most of the students knows about this. But you need to pay some money. Sometimes, okay, when they have offer, maybe Christmas offer, then they offer the cost for 9 USD, 9 USD or sometimes 10 USD, right? And then for the lifetime access, meaning you have access for your lifetime, yeah, until you die, and every time they update with new content, you also have access to. Yeah, so please go to this as well. If you want to learn so many things, you want to learn Python, you want to learn programming, you want to learn anything, just go here. Yeah, I think at the end, maybe in one time, there's no need, no more lecturer. Yeah, so everybody will go to this website to learn. Yeah, anything. Okay, this one is one of the option at AAA. I changed the icon as well, symbol as well. Yeah. And then there's simple PC. You know, we have virtual PC. This one come in together, but we can also IP term. You can download. This is Linux based, very lightweight PC. Yeah, running Linux. You click, switch on, automatically will go up. Yeah, virtual PC as well, but virtual PC is very limited. And then we have networker tools, Toolbox. They can run some option. Yeah. Okay. For example, here I put notes. Okay, can you read the notes? Oops. Okay, I can. If I start to use my pen, then I can. This one missing. Okay, I put the note here. These are services that we can use with networkers tool. We have world www, meaning we can have server running, FTP server, TFTP server, syslog server, Dhcp server, and also SNMP server. So if you want to experiment with all this, we can use this networkers tool, and then you can experiment with it. So this one I already run Dhcp, so I hope I will get this okay, just demonstrate. We'll start this very quickly. You can see this very quickly. It started. Open vSwitch. Let me copy. Okay, let me bring the. No. Okay, this one. It's already started. See, started our switch started, and then you can configure VLAN whatever you want. But it's the syntax is not like Cisco. Yeah, you have to learn. Okay, open vSwitch, for example, how to configure VLAN. Yeah, so it's not similar to the one that we used to in Cisco switch or Cisco router. Yeah. Okay, and then I will start this service. start, and then I run console as well. Same thing, it will start very fast. It's already started. Yeah? So if config, I already configured this as my IP address running on 123.0 network. Yeah, 123.0. I give 123.5. Okay, this is 123.5, and then I have my my PC here. This is my PC, so I open command. I hope I will get the IP address. Yeah, IP config. I don't know whether I get the IP address. Ethernet 3. So I don't get the address. Check. Ethernet 3. Level. So properties. Ethernet version 4. Let's see whether I can get the address. Hopefully I get the address. If not, then I have to try to configure manual. Yeah, because sometimes especially with this local PC, there's some. Recently I faced some issue. I already disabled the firewall. Temporarily, I disable my firewall. I think I disabled this. Okay, I disabled already the firewall. See, okay, close. So I hope I get the address. Command prompt IP config. Mine is Ethernet 3. If not, then I will just give using Dhcp is not running. I don't get the Ethernet 3 or cannot get 169.254, meaning you cannot find the address. Okay, anyway, I'll try to give through static. I'll try to give static. Strange. Actually, before work, I already tested this before. Status 192.168.123. Let's say I give this 2030 lah. Start with 30. I can't remember what address I gave to my router, to my server. 192.168.123.1. Let's say I give 1. Yeah? That's the gateway for the router. Okay, so I will open back my command prompt. So I try to ping 123.5. Yeah? Ping 192.168.123.5. Strange. Okay, never mind. Cannot, then I will change this. Not sure whether this is the case. I will remove this first. I will remove my open with switch. Maybe I play around with this, and then I'm facing problem with my open with switch. I will use this. Okay. Do you know that you can configure VLAN with this? By default, you have 7, 8 port, 0 to 7. You can add. Actually, you can add more if you want. But before you make the connection, once you have connection, you cannot add ports anymore. So let's say I add up to 16. Okay, apply. So now I have up to 16 port. Yeah? And then you can configure simple LAN as well. Yeah? You can configure, okay, port number 1 is an access port. You want to have .1Q. .1Q you want to give to VLAN number, let's say 10. So you can do that. If you want then 10, so you can apply. Oops, sorry, not add, apply port number 1. So port number 1, add So now we have port number 1 belong to VLAN 10. This is how we can use minimum things that we can use with the built-in switch for using GNS3. So we can configure VLAN here. So I just remove back here. Remove back port number 1, VLAN number 1. Dot access port. So I remove. Okay, now I'll try to. This is my Ethernet 3. Is my loop back, and then I try to connect to my DHCP server. DHCP server is already running, so hopefully this time can make connection. See, now can. Okay, I think maybe something wrong with my Open with switch just now, because I've been playing with that Open with switch. I do some command inside just now. Okay, now we can configure this. Okay, I just want to show. Actually, if for lecture we almost finished. Now I just show you give you some demonstration. Yeah. In terms of lecture, only few more slides, and then we finish. So basically, I will finish up with this, because accounting and authentication is nothing much we can. Authorization, nothing much we can do. Just some theory behind it. Yeah. Okay, we try to run this. Start. Console. Okay, console. This one also start very fast as well. The router. It's not like viral router, right? Viral router took really some time, it took ages. So I start this as well. Start console. Okay, our router 1 is done already. Okay, just want to check. Okay, what I have to configure. This one, can't remember. I give the IP address to the fast Ethernet already, right? So I'm supposed to be able to ping from my PC to the router. Okay, I can ping my router. Similarly here, I'm supposed to be able to ping my router too. This is from my PC. Yeah, this is using the loopback address. So this is the connection using the loopback address. Okay, maybe I haven't configured anything on this router too. Let me check. Show run. Okay, I didn't have not give any IP address yet. Okay, never mind. Later we'll do this. Yeah? Later we'll do the commands. Okay, now I can configure this. Okay, I just want to show how we can use what we call a local database. Yeah. First, we will go to router 1. So I'll go to router 1, configure terminal. Okay, this is the normal way we configure. When you start learning Cisco, CCNA, this is what you configure. VTY 04, and then you type login. When I type login, and then they say, you must set the password. Okay, this is, let's say I type Cisco, and I think this one transport. I think by default they allow because we don't configure SSH, then we can try with Telnet. Yeah, so I want to try with Telnet first, see what happens. Exit. And right. I save right. Right, save. Okay, now I go to my PC. I open PuTTY. Okay, this is my PuTTY. So I will try to Telnet 192.168.123 .1. Open. So I get this prompt. Okay, what is the password just now I enter? Cisco. Okay. Enable. Okay, when I type enable, I won't be able to go inside because why? You have to, if for remote access, you need to enable the enable password. Configure terminal, enable password. You know the limitation of password in it's clear text. Never mind. Okay, password Cisco again. Right? Okay, so I can go back to my putty. Now I type enable Cisco. Okay, show run. Okay, so now I can configure. So basically I can configure from remote. Yeah. So you just need to imagine this is a cloud. So meaning you are accessing your router R1 from the maybe from your home, maybe from your workplace, yeah? From outside, basically outside. For in my demonstration, okay, these are local, yeah, these are local. So I can telnet to my router, then I can do exactly the same thing when I configure locally. So meaning I bring my laptop, connect to the console port of router 1 and configure. So rather than doing that, now I can configure from remote, okay, because I open the telnet. Okay, one thing maybe you can try. Okay, you move your mouse there. Oops. And then you capture, start capture. You can run this. It will open actually Wireshark. It will open Wireshark. Okay, remind me later. I don't want to update this one. Okay. Open Wireshark, and then it will start capturing this one. Actually, you can filter. Actually, to be honest with you, I don't play much with Wireshark. I did some experiment with Wireshark last time. You can capture. Now I can't remember how I did it. You can filter. I believe some of you may be very good in this. I believe some students are very good in this. Yeah? I just use this to demonstrate to students. So last time I capture only what I call telnet. Yeah? So you capture telnet and then you can build. Now I can remember. Maybe Wednesday I can demonstrate again, yeah, if you want. So if you do this, whatever you type on here, oops, maybe whatever you type in the console, in your putty, for example, so this is my putty. I exit again. So I type putty. Okay, now I putty again from my PC. 192.168.123.1 using telnet. So I open. Okay, you can actually what I want to show you actually here. Okay, I'm on the other screen, so I will try to log in using password. My password is Cisco. Okay, actually you can filter. I can stop, and then I can select this. I can follow conversation filter. Follow, I think follow. Okay, follow TCP stream. TCP stream. Okay. Okay, can you see this? Can you all see this? Very small, eh? Can you see that? Yeah. Cisco, you can see Cisco. Yeah. So meaning if you run telnet, people can sit in between them. They will be able to see the capture your screen. Yeah? And then with Wireshark, this will be very, very useful. So basically you can filter. Okay, I want to filter this telnet session. Telnet, and then most likely they will see your password. That's why you see just now, okay, whatever I type, yeah, enable, for example, enable, yeah, and then so they can capture again, you know. Let's see whether I can see follow TCP string again. So access enable, where is enable? Okay, you okay, play around with it. Yeah? As I said, I'm not very good in in this thing, but I know that what we can do with Y-Shark. Yeah? I did some experiment long time ago. Now I really have to come back and relearn again this thing. And because once you left, you leave it, and then definitely you have to relearn things again. Okay? So this is what I can remember. You can follow. That's why I was trying to search this. Follow, and then what you can see actually they will capture all the telnet, and then they will assemble the packet for you. That is what you can see just now. Follow TCP stream. You can see this is what the user types. Yeah? Password, okay, Cisco. Yeah, because it's telnet is in clear text. Yeah. Okay, that's why I think very useful. This kind of thing you can play around with it. Yeah. Okay. Now I can maybe stop this. Stop capture. Okay. Now we can try with SSH. We can go to R2. I already start this console. Console to R2. Okay. Okay. Already open this one. Right? Open to R2. Okay. Configure terminal. What time is it now? Okay. Interface FA00, IP address 192.168.123.2, 255.255.255.0. No shutdown. Okay, actually I can. Okay, just to demonstrate. Okay, beside this one, I can what I call. Okay, I can use Dhcp. Yeah. I believe some of you don't know this. Yeah. Okay, you try to use, because I already configured Dhcp. See whether I can get Dhcp address. IP address Dhcp. And then you no shut. No shut meaning, okay, you want to, because by default the line is shut down. See whether we can get the IP address. You need to get the Dhcp packet sending, and then you need to wait for a while. I hope I can get this, because before I try, and then I can get the IP address. If not, I have to recheck again my server, Dhcp server. Not, don't get anything. Let me ping 123.5. Let me ping from router 1 to 123.5. Router 1. I think I know why. Okay, hold on. I need to go to this. I need to start the service. I think I haven't started the service yet. So etc init sc start. Oh, it's already running. Okay. Stop. Starting server running. Okay, stop. Stop. Okay, there's something wrong with this one. Never mind. Just switch off this. Stop. I stop my server, and then I run again. Start again. I don't remember I run that just now. Okay. Okay, and then console. Okay, let's close this. Okay, etc. I have the address. Okay, and then etc. Init. These are all inside. If you download that, then there will be some explanation how you can run this. Yeah. Wait, it's already running. Strange. IP ID. Okay, never mind. Try see whether I can get the IP address. Again, IP interface brief. I don't get the IP address. Shut. Okay, first things IP interface brief. If you get the IP address, they will they give notice to you. I don't think I get it. Yeah? Oh, strange. I don't know what happened. Actually, I tried this before. It's already it's running. Okay, never mind. Maybe on Wednesday I will re-demonstrate again. So now I will change back. I think I don't get the IP address from the server. The server is not responding. It seems to me there's something wrong. They will give me, shouldn't give me this, you know. I already stopped and then suddenly they say it's already running. Okay? Maybe those you are very good in Linux, maybe you understand what is this. I'm not that very good. So I will give back the IP address. IP address 192.168.123.255.255.255.0. No shutdown. And I can ping 192.168.123.5. Okay, I get everything, and then my PC as well, 30. I think my PC 30 just now, isn't it? Okay, 30. So I can ping my PC. Okay, now I will try to configure SSH. Configure terminal. First step, okay, what is the first step? You can recall. You need to change the host name. That is the first step, right? Okay, what is the second step? Domain name, IP domain name, Let's say, okay, we are from fsktm edu.my. Yeah, and then I want to configure SSH version 2. I have IP SSH version. Okay, there are only two, 1 or 2, so 2. Yeah, okay, this is what I meant just now. At least 700-bit size, because I want to show you this thing. If we enable SSH version 2, so the key size should be more than this. Okay, the next step will be to run crypto key generate RSA. So they ask you, okay, what is the size? 512. You know that we need more than, okay, we need more than 71024. Yeah, double than 512. Okay, and then IP domain name, and then you need to have username as well. Username, admin, password. Okay, I should use algorithm type. You know, remember just now I said, but there is no option algorithm type because the version of this is 12 something. There's no algorithm type. So I can use secret of password. So I just use password for demo purposes. Cisco admin, admin, maybe admin as well. I always remember some. Today I configure, tomorrow I forgot already. So admin. Right? Okay, and then line VTY 04 transport input. Okay, there are several options. Yeah, the one that we want is SSH. You can type all meaning you want to allow. We can allow all, meaning we want to allow Telnet, we want to allow what I call SSH. So in my case, okay, I just want SSH for example, and then log in. I think log in local. I have to type local if I'm mistaken. Okay, there's no other option. SSH mean local. Again, local. Okay, I have to use username. So I already have the username. END. This. So now again, I open my putty. From my PC. Putty. So don't save any. Okay, 1, 2, I just use this 123.2. Lazy to type, so you should save the IP address that you always use in your example. 123.2. I'm using SSH, so I will open. So this is what, okay. On my screen, they prompt me, okay, should I accept the key fingerprint? I cannot move my, can I? Okay, I can, okay. This is the message the first time, you access, they will get the key, fingerprint key from the router, because we already configure the, okay, let me show crypto key, something, key, key. Okay, so crypto key, my public key RSA. Okay, these are key that are generated just now when I enter 1024 crypto key generate RSA, and I enter 1024. Okay, remember this name. R2 is the name of the host name, and then this is the IP domain name. That's why before you run crypto key generate, they will enforce you to change the host name and also to enter the domain name. You need to give that too. That's why in the sequence, I type the host name first. Okay, already host name for Genesry, they already default. They give you the host name already. They change from the default. And then the second step to enter the domain name. The third step is to enter the crypto key generate RSA. Then you have, they will generate for you. One of them is basically, okay, this is the one that will be exported to all the user that are accessing. This is not exportable. This is the private key. This is the public key. Yeah, the public key. Okay, this public key will be exported to the user. Okay? So that's why now when I have this. Okay, this. So they will. Okay, do you want to accept the public key? So I say yes. Oh, okay, they close already. Okay, I need to open because it's too long. Already too long. So my putty, run again putty. What time is it now? 44. Okay. Load 123.2. Open. Okay, this one login as at admin, and then the password. Password. Okay, I haven't set the enable. Same thing. So you have to set the enable. Okay. Okay, this is what basically you can experiment with your what I call your Genesry. Okay, now I will quickly open this project. Well, okay. Okay, these are the, maybe if I don't have time today, when I will demonstrate on Wednesday. Yeah. So this is Open with Switch. I hope there's no problem with my Open with Switch. And then I have installed this. Okay, this is the Aaa Server Appliance. You can install this appliance. Okay, you can see here there's a default. You cannot add username. You cannot add password. By default, this appliance just to give you minimum functionality. They already provide you with username. They already provide you with the password. Yeah, later you will understand. Once you install the appliance on your Genesry, you will see this. Yeah, you will. They give you the username already for Radius. What can you read this? The name? Yes. Can you read the name? Alice and Bob. What is the password? They put at the bottom GNS3. So every time I have to use the key. Actually, GNS3 also the key. Yeah, you need to configure the key as well. So the key is GNS3 for the Radius and also for the Takat. Yeah. So for the Takat, you have GNS3 or you have the read-only user. Okay. So for Radius user, you can use Alice or you can use Bob, and then both will use the GNS3. So we cannot change anything. Yeah, we have to use this. So I already configured this with 10. So hopefully I have this console. So maybe I remove this. It's already closed. I already closed this. I already closed this. I already closed this. Okay. If get the address of 123.10, exactly the number I type here, the IP address I type here. Okay, and then this one I have configured to use Aaa Takat server. This one I configure use radius. So I open this. I hope I save this configuration. Yeah, I really hope so. Okay, I use Takat here. Start. Console R1 and then console to R2. So I hope that I save this already. Okay. Okay, username. They start to ask you username. Okay, later I will show you what I have. Okay, I think I have here. Okay, I will copy this to my notepad. Okay, this is what I have configured. Username, admin pass, yeah, and then domain name, crypto key generate Rsa, and then I type this one. I want with the book. Okay, the purpose I do this basically I can copy this and then I pass to others, and then you can quickly paste to your server, right? So you copy this, paste, right? Quickly we can do this, right? For example, here Radius server host. Okay, this is different than the in your what you call lab SSI. The different way of configuring. Everything I put in one line. If you remember in our presentation just now, you can have, I can define radius server. I give server name, and then I start to enter IP address, and then I can enter the port. Yeah, so everything you can put in one. This is the key I mentioned just now, GNS3 key. Now I will connect to my radius server, this one. So I have this default. I remove this. I don't use this. This is another option to use rather than default. Okay, we can use name. Yeah, you can implement this for your telnet, for example, if you want. So in my case, I remove this. So I only implement this, meaning all my login will use radius. And then if the radius is not up, then I can use my local. The local will be this. Later we will demonstrate. Yeah. So now this one, yeah, is asking me, okay, what line? Line console 0. Okay. Line console 0 is one of the login. So by default, I have to use the GNS3 because I have to use radius because this is now configured as my default here. Okay, so line console is default, so I have to use this. So I have to enter. Remember the name is Alice. Oops. Time expired. Okay, username Alice, password GNS3. It will take some time because you need to authenticate with this one. See, I'm now inside. Right? I can use GNS, or I can even use Bob. Okay, Bob, BOB, and then password GNS3. So I'm inside this one. Hello Bob. Yeah. So now I can configure, and then you can do everything, right? Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, see, actually we can now, okay, I can enter here, right, to from this sorry, I can log in from my putty, right? Okay, you can also demonstrate with IP term. As I said, IP term. Okay, I will demonstrate with this start and then console. So this time I will use, okay, this one radius takkats. If takkats mean the username is GNS3, password is GNS3. Okay, so I will use takkat to connect to R2, from this IP term. Console. Okay, IP term. Okay, if config. Okay, I have the IP address. Okay, SSH GNS3 at 192.168.123.2. Okay, this is to R2. For R2, I configure to use GNS3. Okay, yes. Added to the list of names. Same thing, they will ask you, okay, you want to receive the public key. Okay, what is the password? GNS3. Right? Now I'm inside R2 because I have not configured enable password, then I cannot enter. Yeah, so you need to enter the enable password. So this is what you can basically play around with the GNS3. There's so many things you can. Okay, I even run radius using WinRadius. I run inside my own PC because I need to run or maybe you can run VM. You install maybe Windows 8, and then you install Windows Radius, WinRadius in your VM. Okay? In my case, I run my WinRadius inside my local PC. Okay, so I can. This is part of your lab, so you can try that. This is also work. I already configured this. Yeah. Okay, so I quickly go back to my lecture. Okay, authorization accounting. I don't want to go into detail of this because this is not. They don't even discuss that much. Yeah, we have authentication, we have authorization, and then the other part is also accounting, right? So how to configure authorization? Now this is we close the authentication. Now the second one is authorization. The step is almost the same. Yeah, you have execute. You have actually network and some other things that we can configure. Actually, I put some notes here. I just updated this slide, and maybe I will update the slide as well inside our Spectrum. Using this, some explanation about, okay, what is the meaning of the network execute. Yeah, I never go into detail all of this, and I also will not ask you question on your final regarding this. Okay, actually we don't have final, isn't it? We have our online final. Okay, if I create the question, I won't ask you about this thing, okay? To be honest, because this is now beyond our CCNA, but this is thing that you know that we can configure in the future. That if you think that you need to configure this, and then there are a lot of documentation inside Cisco as well that you can use. In fact, I put one of the link somewhere in this slide as well. Okay, top here. If you can see, can you see this one, or can you see this? I put the link, one of the link that you can refer if you want to understand about Aaa authentication and also Aaa accounting. The link there. Right? Okay, the last thing actually at 02.1. Okay, the concept. Yeah, the concept of this is very simple. Okay, we have what they call supplicant, the concept of supplicant host, and then we have authenticator. We have the authentication server. Authentication server with extension E. They call it EOP AL something. EOPAL. Later you see this. EOPOL. Sorry, EAPOL. EAPOL. Yeah. Okay. What this guy do? Okay, you need to run 802.1x. You can see, okay, if you check your what I call connection, you have to enable this. So in my case just now Ethernet 3, so I have to enable 802.1x. Yeah. Okay, maybe quickly if I can go. Okay, this. Oops. Okay. But this, there's somewhere you 802. I can't remember where. You have to enable. Okay, not here. Okay, never mind. I will try to find out where you need to enable. Actually, you need to enable on the host itself. You need to enable on the host itself. You need to enable on the host, and also I off this. Okay, you need to enable on the host. Control P. Right? You need to enable on the host, and then you need to enable on this what I call authenticator. They call it your switch or your router, and then we have to have server. The thing is, you need to run what they call radius server. You cannot use takat server. This is very what they call strange thing. Yeah, you cannot use Cisco itself use radius. So strange. Yeah, you need to have radius with this extension. Right? So the idea is basically, okay, you are not allowed to access until you are authenticated. Yeah? That's the idea. So if you are the user, I'm the user. For example, I'm Rosli, so I'm given Rosli username Rosli, and then I have my own password. So I will be authenticated by this server, and then the authenticator will say, okay, you are now allowed to access or not. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. There's it. Okay. So I think your friends share this link. I know there's somewhere you can enable. All right. Okay. Thank you. Authentication. Yeah. So under authentication, okay. Because I did this long when I start learning this, I configured this before. Play around with this. Not really full configuration, but play around with this thing. Okay, so okay, thank you. Send phone. Thank you. Okay. What time is it? Oh, it's already 3. Sorry, guys. Okay, I think I will have to finish here. Okay, this is how we can configure the step here. Simple step. Same thing, because you need to have what you call Aaa radius. Okay? You need to have radius. Control E. Shift 7. Okay. You need to have radius. Oh, strange. You have to have a name model, and then you have to have your radius server, and then same thing. Actually, this is exactly the same thing you need to configure, and then we enable the .1x, and then you interface level. Okay, that's all we need to do. But the problem is actually in demonstration we can find this one. This is we have to use ICE. ICE is licensed, and then I don't have that yet. So also in our lab we are not going to implement this as well. Okay, I think that's all for today. So sorry to take your time. I think I didn't realize time flies that fast. So you have any question before we finish? Any question?
So,
okay.
Doctor, so we can start the wait for activities, right?
Today is week Today is week 3, isn't it?
Yeah,
Ah.
but the AA there is at week 4.
Really? Oh, okay. I think I put one for week 3. You do week 2, isn't it? For week
Yeah.
4, okay. Never mind. If you can do all, also better.
Doctor,
At the end, you have to do all. Yeah. Sorry.
for the submission links, is it in Spectrum or is it a new submission?
I will put in last session. I use Classroom, but this time I will try to use our Microsoft Team, right?
Because there's a submission in Spectrum and then I just submit for the lab one over there.
Okay. That one you can submit there, but if you need to resubmit, I will give you a different link, right? Okay, no problem. You just save whatever you do. You just save, and then when I say okay, you need to submit, then you just submit. Okay. Wednesday we will discuss about our lab. Hopefully today I will open your Cisco online. Okay, so if no question, so I'll see you. Hopefully everyone have already logged into the attendance. Okay, guys. Okay, bye. Thank you. Right, see you again Wednesday.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Ini parang ini bukan parang. Oh, sempat beli tu.